I think the thing that I really loved about Max's script was that it, it sort of takes all the because it is a story that everyone kind of knows or thinks they know or knows parts of. But like Igor's not in the book, but it's something that people associate him with because of the films. And there's lots of things like that I think Max has tried to kind of take all of those myths and find a story where they all can kind of come together and work in one story. So he's tried to sort of make sense of all the various things that people think they know about the Frankenstein story and blend them together. And it's a lot of fun, and it's sort of told a little bit from sort of Igor's perspective of the Doctor, which is, I suppose, kind of the new angle on it. But yeah, I don't think it's not as much horror as like the classic Frankenstein movies, but there's lots of horror elements, and it's good adventure film.
He's not just crazy, because he's the original. I think Mary Shelley made the mould from which all other mad scientists were sort of poured, and that's sort of all right. That works, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Thanks. And I think that it's really exciting to go back to the original sort of guy and explore him and give him some depth and all that. But that energy was something that it was in the script, definitely, and I wanted to go for that as much as possible, so that it wasn't just he's a mad doctor, he's actually at times manic. And it's not just because he's mad, he's got so much to do in his life, he's got so much happening, he's got so much going on inside his brain that he's almost only able to operate at this higher level than most people intellectually, because his body is working so fast and his mind is working so fast that it's almost like he's going to burn up, you know. And that was something that I had fun doing.
Yeah, I mean, there's something I like, being physical and sort of, using my body and contorting it and, being weird, and I love being weird, and then and there was something really fun and challenging about seeing if you can like track a sort of emotional journey and story through somebody's physical development, and there was also something lovely about knowing that I only had to do the physicality at the beginning for like 20 pages of the script, so that then I could really sort of go for it and make it something that was, really painful looking and being, and yeah, so it was I enjoyed that aspect of it, and it's there's a long time since kind of this is the first movie with like proper kind of big action sequences that I've done since Potter, so it was very nice to like get back into some of that stuff and get to do kind of.
It's fun, isn't it?
Yeah, just like you don't get to do it on every movie. Like when you sort of kid yourself that when you're doing like some nice little indie talky film, you could say, oh, I don't miss that, this is lovely. But then suddenly when you're like getting back on a wire and getting thrown over something, it's like, oh, this is great. I mean, your apartment was amazing because it was just like a huge room with then several rooms off it, and it was almost like it was kind of all there.
Yeah, and then my laboratory, which was like downstairs from my already amazing apartment that was created in a studio, but the laboratory was actually, once you go down the stairs, was a real sewage works out in. Out somewhere in the east of London, which was the original Victorian sewer works that sort of cleaned up the whole of the city and got all the sewage going through the sewers, but it still stank of poo. And so my high-tech laboratory where I create my homunculi was in a shithouse.
Yeah.
Literally,
yes.
Literally in a beautiful Victorian shithouse.
A very famous one where people used to come for miles around.
Yeah, I mean,
it was a tourist attraction.
Honestly, it is stunning. This place is
stunning.
It's like if you were going to make a dunny, like trust the Victorians to make a beautiful one with incredible iron wrought sort of machines and things. It's incredible. Yeah, I think also it was Max said that when he was writing the script, his biggest inspiration for writing it was The Social Network. and that he was sort of imagining these two guys who stood at the forefront of technology and scientific endeavour, and they held, you know, the fire of the gods. And I'm not saying that Zuckerberg and all that were like held the fire of the gods and all that kind of stuff, but they were right on the cusp of something that was going to change the way people lived, and he wanted that with these guys as well. And I'm not saying Zuckerberg's totally rock and roll and all that kind of stuff, but the idea of youth and energy and vitality pushing through boundaries, which is quite a rock and roll idea. That's what rock and roll is, isn't it? Sort of energy over logic. You know what I mean? Which is at times what this film's all about, is energy over logic, it seems. So yeah, if that turned into rock and roll, then I like it. Did it fun, yeah.
Yeah, we did do it. We had a lot of fun. I mean, I think we're quite similar in that we come to set with a similar attitude of like, let's have fun, but also like get the work done. And but yeah, I do think everyone has like. Maybe most actors are really combative, but like I don't know. I've never like everyone seems to be asking like, God, was it okay filming? Like, yeah, no, it was all right. We had a nice time. It was. I think often like, you know, the more intense a film is, the lighter you sort of keep it between, because it sort of helps, because you can't, you know. Especially if you're making a film like this as well, which is, it's got to be fun. Like, I don't see if we were taking ourselves completely seriously the whole time and never like, you know, enjoying the work, I don't know how we could make a good version of this.
Yeah, we're both experienced enough that we're not panicking all the time.
Yes.
Now, you work with people that are really new to it, or maybe just never managed to get to that point where you know you can do the work. And even if you are uncertain about certain things, you feel more secure in yourself. You still have days where you're insecure and all that kind of stuff, but you feel more secure in yourself and in the knowledge that you know you're going to turn up with the goods at some point, that you can enjoy what it is you're doing rather than be neurotic about what it is that you're doing. You see actors that are just like, you go like, why do you do this? It doesn't seem like you enjoy doing this, do you know what I mean? But anyway, we had a right laugh.
Yeah. Never mind them.